All right, hi you guys, welcome to science class today. So on the board I've written down two vocabulary terms that you'll need to know. So the first one is camouflage. Camouflage just means to blend in with the environment, and specialized structures just means a body part. So we learned about birds already. Birds have a beak, so a beak is a specialized structure for them. Okay, our objective today is I can explain how some characteristics give a species a survival advantage in a particular environment. So, your job today, if I were to ask you, okay, explain to me how does a species, so some animal, how does some animals survival, how does it survive, or what's the advantage of allowing it to survive in a particular environment? So, what are some of the things that allow a particular species to survive? Okay, and it's more of an advantage. So, if you think of survival of the fittest, so like if we send all of us out into the forest and say, okay, guys, we got to see who can survive, who's got the skills, who's got the advantages of maybe being able to survive out there. So let's say that somebody knows how to start a fire with just the flint or the rocks that they find. What if somebody's really physically strong and they know how to, like, they can climb and, grab things that they need to, or just hike to a higher location, just anything that's going to give them an advantage over somebody else. Okay. So think of species. We're going to be thinking animals today. So what survival advantages do they have? So we're going to go over those. Okay. The first one is temperature control. So the fur of some animals, it gives it a layer of warmth to the body. Some animals also have sweat glands in their skin that helps to keep them cooled off. All right. The next one is defense against parasites. That means that animals with scales or a shell, they have some extra protection against parasites that might try and burrow into their skin. Then we have defense against poisonous plants. So oils from plants such as poison ivy, they can irritate our skin, but because animals have a layer of fur, that fur doesn't allow it to get straight and make contact with their skin directly. And so by the time it gets to the skin, it's the irritation of that poison has broken down over time. Okay, defense against sunburn. So imagine you're a monkey living in the tropical forest. Are you out in the sun quite often? So ultraviolet rays from the sun can damage skin. And all those tropical animals out there, like those monkeys and parrots, they are protected from sunburn by their fur, or if they're a bird, by their feathers. All right, the bottom here we have defense against predators. So the skin of a pufferfish, okay, or of a porcupine, they have sharp spines that repel or kind of like tell the predator, stay away from me, you don't want to come any closer. And also the backbone of a turtle is a scale-covered shell that provides defense. So I have a porcupine needle. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. So this is really teeny tiny. Okay, but this is a porcupine quill. And as far as the skin, this is our snake skin. So again, trying to keep those parasites with the skin covering. All right, over on this side, a survival advantage that a species may have is that they can warn their predators. So poison arrow frogs, for example, and monarch butterflies, they have a toxic, like a poison substance in their body, and it can kill or repel, like push away the predator. So their bright warning colors can turn the predator away before they attack. So like if you're brightly colored, that can tell certain species like, whoa, that's a bright colored animal, don't eat it. So they've learned that when they do eat that, they die. Okay. Skunks, they have a bold black and white warning pattern. And so most animals that, want to go up against a skunk, they know that the skunk has that coloration to repel them away, to say, hey, remember, you don't want to eat me. Don't mess with me. Okay, the next one is camouflaging. So we talked about that, just blending in with the environment. So the pattern on some insects mimic the leaves, okay? Or it can mimic the tree bark. Animals like zebras, their patterns, their stripes on them help them to blend in with the tall grasses. All right, deceive predators. So this one's pretty cool. So some species, they have a false head or a large head and fake eyes that can startle predators. And then it, allows them to kind of frighten their predator, and then it gives them just a quick second to try to escape. They can also lead the predator to strike a non-vital area of their body, such as attacking their tail instead of their head. So again, they might have like some type of design or a pattern on their skin, on their fur, just whatever, on their wings, and it would kind of deceive the animal to think that that's the part that they want to attack, when really, if they attack that part, it wouldn't cause any harm. All right. How about mimicry? So mimicry, some organisms, they have a coloring or a type of pattern or a behavior that resembles other organisms, so other living things that may be dangerous, poisonous, or unpleasant to eat. So predators would avoid these organisms because they think that the mimics are the real thing. So for example, viceroy butterflies, so it's a type of butterfly, they are not toxic to predator. They mimic the coloration of monarch butterflies, which are poisonous. So again, the viceroy, they are not poisonous. They're not toxic at all if they get eaten, but they mimic or copy the coloration pattern that monarch butterflies have, because monarchs are poisonous to the predators. Let's see. And the last one here is they might have the survival advantage to attract a mate. So if you want your species to continue on for time and year after year, you want to be able to mate. And so some birds and some butterflies, they have brightly colored wings to attract their potential mates. So again, just different colorations would help them to attract a mate. All right, so let's see. I am going to read you guys a little story. So in there was a time period called the Industrial Revolution, and that's when there were a lot of factories, and within the factories they were burning a lot of coal, and when you burn coal, it puts out a lot of pollution. So this is a story, and it takes place in England. Okay, it's a town in England, and there are lots of aspen trees. So aspen trees, they have the white tree trunk and lots of black markings on the trees. Okay, you've probably seen aspen trees in your neighborhood. So they're pretty common here in Utah. Okay, so again, this is taking place in England, where there's lots of aspen trees. The trees were very white before the Industrial Revolution. The area had many moths. There were lots of black moths and white moths. The moths would be attracted to those trees because it had a type of fungus that they would eat. Okay, so the trees, white moths, black moths, go to the trees to eat the fungus. Okay, the birds, which are right there in the tree as well, the birds would feast upon the black moths because they could be seen. So imagine you are a white moth on a white tree bark. Are you kind of camouflaged? You are, right? Okay, so at this time, the birds would feast upon the black moths. So all the black moths were being eaten up because they were the most visible to the birds, because the black moths stand out as a contrast on the white tree bark. Okay, so, but after the Industrial Revolution began, with all the coal burning and the air became polluted, the tree bark started to turn darker. So imagine that. Before, if you were the white moth, you were like, oh yeah, we're surviving. We've got more of us than you, because they were camouflaged. But now that the Industrial Revolution has taken place and all the coal burning is going on, all of the white moths are spotted on the darkened tree bark. Okay, so the white moths are now, they're no longer camouflaged, and so the white moths are being eaten up more so than all the dark moths. So now what did the dark moths get to tell the white moths? Yeah, you know what? Okay, so again, camouflage. So that story there is an example of a survival advantage. Okay, so that means over time, during that Industrial Revolution, there were not as many white moths because the white moths were being eaten up, and so that species was going to eventually be eliminated unless they could find a place located in a new area where the white tree bark was more available to them. Okay, does that make sense? So again, it's a survival advantage in a particular environment. Okay, so I delivered to your home. Each of you have one of these butterflies, okay? And what I would like you to do is cut out your butterfly, and you are going to find a place in your home, okay, or in your yard, wherever you want. And you are going to decorate it, color it, okay, to make it blend in with whatever environment you choose. So I did mine really basic and simple. So I put my white butterfly, so basically just taking the copy, one little butterfly that I gave you guys, I cut it out and I just put it on a whiteboard, because on my whiteboard, what do you see? So if you were a bird looking to eat a moth, would the bird see this? Not really, right? It would blend in. So again, a camouflage means you make it blend in, but you do not hide it, okay? So when we do this activity in the classroom, everybody would have their butterfly. Everybody would secretly choose a place in the classroom, and you would secretly color your butterfly, and then you would secretly go hang it up, okay? Then we would have Mrs. Williams come in our classroom and give her 1 minute. We would give her 1 minute to be a bird, and she would fly around as if she's the bird, and she would see how many butterflies she could actually find. Because if she can find them, I mean, she gets to eat them. And if you're a bird, you want to eat the moths or the butterflies, okay? So your little homework assignment is to color your butterfly. So find somewhere in the room. So like, for example, if I saw this in the classroom and I wanted it to blend in, could I keep part of it? Could I make part of my butterfly light blue and then this part would be a darker blue? What if I were to put my butterfly up here? Could I put lots of colors on the wings up here to blend in with this? And then just light blue here? Okay. What if, let's see what else I can find. What if this was hanging up in the classroom? Could I keep part of it pink? So could I do part of this pink and part of this pink over here and then keep some of it white? Okay, so your job is to somehow make your butterfly blend in to some environment in your home. And if you would like to, you don't have to, but if you would like to, take a picture of it and send it to us, okay? All right, so I forgot to bring it in here. Let me go grab my newspaper. You guys can see how many butterflies you can find.